start by reading a passage from Psalm 139. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. I was born here in Oregon in 1979, the youngest of 3 kids, and you could say the scene in the delivery room wasn't the normal one of the doctor offering congratulations and the parents all grinning ear to ear. It was a very quiet and solemn time. My mom and dad were feeling a little bit shocked, and the nurses were probably feeling a little bit sorry for them, I would imagine. I was born, as you can see, with some extensive facial problems, and it was later determined that I also had some issues with a few internal organs, and I had a hole in my heart and some spinal issues as well. In spite of it being a scary time, my mom and dad were ready to give their all in fighting for me and loving me no matter what. They'd had a little bit of warning ahead of time that there might be problems, so they were sort of prepared. Early in my mom's pregnancy, she'd had a little bit of bleeding, and at first she thought she was miscarrying, but then it stopped. And so the doctors really encouraged her to end the pregnancy. They said it'd be healthier for her, and they didn't know what would be going on with me. So they trusted the doctors, and they made an appointment to have an abortion, and they were told that that was still a mass of unformed tissue. I mean, people still get told that today. They did back in '79 as well. It made more sense to end pregnancy. So after my mom mentioned her plans to have an abortion to a friend, her friend said, if you don't want to have your baby, at least give birth to her and give her to me. I want her. And her friend took the time to talk through the implications of an abortion. A short time later, her pastor called her and talked through it some more. And my parents were just so surprised. They had no idea that abortion was wrong early in the pregnancy. Like, it seems now we know, but they didn't know. And so they obviously changed their mind, and I'm so thankful they did. As the pregnancy went on, there were a few more issues. Mom wasn't sure if I'd be born alive. So that's why they were both prepared and shocked in the delivery room when I was born. So I had my first surgery at 4 months when I had gained enough weight to be strong enough to have a surgery to start fixing some of the facial abnormalities. And that first year I had about 3 more. And there's a point where the doctors offered to not allow me to wake up if there should be any complications during the surgery. They told my parents I wouldn't be able to walk or talk, and I would be mentally disabled. And so they basically made a way out available for my parents to offer not to resuscitate me during the operation. This happened several times, but my parents obviously refused. In spite of resistance from some doctors, there were many others who were supportive and encouraging. The night I was born, there was a pediatrician who sought out my parents. They didn't know him, but he found them, and he said, "How are you feeling?" And they said, "Oh, we're feeling pretty guilty. You know, we don't know, did we cause this, or why was she born this way? Was it our genetics? I don't know." And as a side note, it was later determined it's probably not genetic, but maybe a twin had died in utero and his body had interfered with my growth and development, or maybe my mom had some bad well water. We're not sure what it is. Anyway, they were feeling guilty, and this doctor took the time to remind them of the story in John 9, when Jesus and his disciples came upon a man blind from birth, and the disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents?" And Jesus replied that neither he nor his parents had sinned, but that he'd been born blind so that the works of God would be displayed in him. This really helped them gain perspective on how to view the situation, and they no longer felt guilty, but they were ready to see what God would do and how he'd be glorified in my life. I went on to have over 30 operations, and we were blessed to be living in the Portland area where we had access to so many surgeons and speech therapists and a whole team of people to help me out. God's hand of healing was very evident in my life through all the surgeries and the milestones that I continued to meet in spite of what the doctors had predicted. There was a point at 18 months of age when I was admitted to repair the hole in my heart the following day. And when the cardiologist put the stethoscope up, he couldn't hear the murmur anymore. It was gone. Just the day before it had been there. And so my parents knew that God had done a miracle. Pretty cool, I think. And in spite of so many painful operations, God gave me a really joyful disposition as a child. I grew up in a very loving, supportive family, and I rarely even cared that I looked different. I prayed with my dad when I was 5 years old to accept Christ, and I was so excited to tell everybody, even random strangers on the street, about Jesus. But when I hit my teenage years, things changed just a little bit. I still love God, and I believe that He died in my place, but I withdrew from Him anyway. I think that the preteen and teenage years in a girl's life are pivotal because that's when they realize they hold value in the world's eyes based on how beautiful they are. And I wasn't beautiful. The world told me that loud and clear. I was blessed with several wonderful friends, but there were still a lot of kids that did teasing, and they just let me know they didn't like me because I looked different. And that was really tough. And I became angry with God. I asked, why did He have to choose me to be born this way? Why couldn't I just have a normal life? Why did I have to dedicate every spring break and summer vacation and Christmas vacation to more surgeries? And sometimes I was okay with the way things were, but sometimes I was really sad, and I fought depression throughout teenage years. It wasn't until college that I finally took a good look around me at other people. God really opened my eyes at everybody around me that had it so much harder, because my struggles were visible for anyone to see. There are so many people that had hurts deep within inside of them, hidden from view. God began to draw my focus away from myself and gave me a new compassion for those hurting all around me. He also drew me closer to Himself, and I began to fall in love with Him all over again, just like when I was 5 and became a Christian. He gave me back the joy I'd been lacking for so long. He gave me a new excitement about life. And He blessed me with an amazing husband and 4 kids that we're enjoying so much. I didn't think I'd get married. I didn't think anybody would want to, but God is a giver of good gifts. Really cool. Sometimes it's still hard when the world looks at me and tells me by their words or actions that something's wrong with me, that perhaps God made a mistake when I was developing in my mother's womb, or maybe He didn't see, like something slipped past Him. But I know that God does not make mistakes. And even I was created for His glory. I know that He is loving and He is good. And does the fact that the world rejected me, and so many other children born with physical and mental imperfections, does that make God any less good? No. He's good all the time. We live in a fallen world where these things happen, but He delights in using our weaknesses to glorify Himself. It's also an encouragement to know that Jesus was no stranger to suffering and rejection. He knew exactly what I was going through growing up. He knows exactly what any of you are going through as well. So in my life, I've seen God in several different roles. I've seen Him as a healer, a comforter, a patient in pursuing God. He pursued me even as I pushed Him away for so many years. And He's a God who loves to bless His children, and He never changes no matter what. So thank you.